Yeah, this is Subramaniam. Today, uh, this is Subramaniam. I am working as an assistant professor in Narayana Engineering College. Today, I am going to discuss about OSA reference model. So, first of all, you should know what is OSA reference model. So, OSA means it is the Open System Interconnection Model. So, uh, it explains how data travel from one computer to another computer. So, whenever the user want to sending the data from one system to another systems or one system to multiple systems where we can using the OSA reference model. So here in OSA reference model having 7 layers. So these 7 layers help understand network communication, divides work like as a step-by-step process. So the top layer is the application and the bottom layer is the physical. So example, applications of browsers, WhatsApps and emails. These are all the example of communication. So coming to the first layer is application layer. So whenever the user want to send hi message through WhatsApp, so after that the presentation layer will that message encrypt, and the session layer it create session between sender and receiver. After that the transport layer will responsible for message is broken into segments using TCP. So TCP means here it is a transmission control protocol. After that, the network layer add your IP address and your uh, friend IP address, that is a receiver IP address. After that, the data link layer adds MAC address and create frames. So this is the responsible taken by the data link layer. After that, the physical layer send data as a electrical or a radio signals via Wi-Fi and internet. So this is the responsibilities of see these 7 layers. So I will explain these 7 layers clearly. So with example, so the first layer is the physical layer. So the physical layers deals with cables, signals, electricity bits, that means zeros ones, and it sends raw data physically. So that is the responsibility taken by the physical layer. So here the example Ethernet cables and Wi-Fi signals and hubs. The, that is the responsibility of physical layer. Coming to data link layer. So here the data link layer make sure data is sent error free within the same network. So whenever we want to sending the message using same network from sender to receiver, where you can using the data link layer. What is the main role of or main motto of the network layer is the make sure data is sent error free within the same network. So using MAC address, here MAC is using the MAC address. So here example switches, MAC addresses, frames. So these are all the example of data link layer. So here coming to next layer, that is a network layer. So here the network layer finds the best path to send the data from source to destination. That means sender to receiver. So that is the role of network layer. That means the network layer choosing the or finding the best path using the IP addresses. So here we are taken some example, that is a routers IP addresses packets. These are all the example of network layer. So the next is transport layer. So transport layer motto or responsibility is breaks the data into small pieces. That means whenever the user want to sending the large amount of data from sender to receiver or source to destination, the transport layer break that data into small pieces, that is segments. So and ensures reliable delivery. So that means the transport layer will give the ensure the reliable delivery to the required destination, that is a intended destination. So that is the responsibility taken by the transport layer. So we here uses two protocols. The first one is transmission control protocol, the second one is UDP protocol. So example, TCP is a reliable protocol and UDP is a non-reliable protocol. Compared to TCP, the UDP is a fast and compared to TCP, the UDP is a fast. It will give the fast access or fast transmitted data from sender to receiver or source to destination. So that is the example of transport layer. So coming to that is fifth one, that is a session layer. So what is the role of, what is the responsibility of session layer? Here it creates and manages sessions and connection between two devices or two systems or two nodes. So whenever the user want to sending the data or packets or frames from sender to receiver or source to destination, the session layer will creates and managing sessions and connections between two devices. So here the example of login sessions, video call configuration, connections, that is a configuration. So here the example of login session and video call connections, that is where you can use live stream or connection. So coming to that is the next layer, that is a sixth layer. Here that is a presentation layer. The presentation layer is responsibility of convert the data into a format that both machine understand. Both machine understand means that is a source level and target level. So that is the motto of presentation layer. So here handles encryption, compression handled by the presentation layer. So here example, data encryption, that means images, videos, text formats. This is the example of presentation layer. The last layer is application layer. So what is the application layer responsibility here? So the layer you see as a user, that means provides services like browsing, emails, file transfer. This is the responsibility motto of application layer. Example, Chrome, that is a browsing. The Chrome, the user want using the whenever want to using the browser, where you can give the Chrome. Whenever using the Chrome, you can searching the some information. So that is provided by the Chrome or email, that is Gmail and FTP, that is a file transfer protocol. So these are all the these 7 layers are the OSI reference model. So why we are using these 7 layers? That means whenever the user want to sending the data from one area to another area, so that means the source level and the target level. The source level using different configurations, different networks, different system configurations, as well as the destination level also using different configurations, different networks. So this kind of situation, the user want to sending the data from source level to target level, where we can apply these 7 layers. That is the main purpose of these 7 layers. Coming to TCP is a transmission control protocol. TCP is a transmission control protocol. TCP is a connection oriented and reliable communication protocol used on the internet. So that is the main purpose of TCP. So that means it is a reliable, it is a connection oriented. Next point is that TCP makes sure that data reaches safely correctly and in the right order from one device to another device or source to destination. This is the main responsibility of TCP, transmission control protocol. So it works like a phone call. So you connect first and talk and end the call. So this is the example of TCP. So next coming to main features of TCP. The main features of TCP means that is a connection oriented. The TCP creates connection between sender and receiver before sending the data. So that means the user want to sending the data from sender to receiver before the TCP creating connections between these two systems. So the next point is reliable delivery. If some data is lost, TCP detects and resend it. So that means that TCP is a reliable delivery. So if some data is lost, at that time, during that time, the TCP detects that lost data and resend it to the receiver. Ordered data. So the TCP makes sure that data arrives in the correct order to receiver. So order data means that TCP makes sure data arrives in the correct order. After that, the TCP is taking another responsibility is error checking. So that is the wonderful responsibility of transmission control protocol. So the TCP checks for error using acknowledgements. So flow control, that the TCP also managing the flow control. So TCP adjusts speed so that the receiver is not overloaded. So that is the main thing of flow control. That means the receiver side is not overloaded. So real-time example of TCP, that is a sending a message, sending a WhatsApp message. Let's say you send hello to your friend and a WhatsApp. So step one, that is a connection setup. The second is TCP first does a three-way handshake. The first one is your phone. Second one is sync. Third one is friend. The friend sync acknowledged you. You acknowledged friend. Now connection is ready. So that means the TCP providing the connection setup between the two systems or between the two nodes. Then sending data. Your message hello is broken into small TCP segments. For each segment, your friend receives. They send back acknowledgement. To the senders. If some part is missing, the TCP resend the same data to the receiver. So that is the main purpose of transmission control protocol. That's why we call it as a TCP is a reliable delivered protocol. Coming to correct order, if segments come into wrong order, that TCP will arranging them. That is a correct order. So that is the main another feature of transmission control protocol. The next one is connection close. After the message is delivered to the receiver, once he got the message from the sender, the TCP closes the connection using four steps. Using these four steps. So that is finishing the connection using these four steps. Okay. So example, a story style. So imagine you want to send 5 books to your friend by courier. That TCP works like this. So you first call your friend to confirm they are available. So that is a connection. After that, you send a books one by one, that is a segment. So if these 5 books will be divided into as a segment, each segment sent by the sender to receiver. So that is the main motto of transmission control protocol. So for example, so for each book a friend sent to message, I received it. After that, the receiver will send the acknowledgement to the sender. So this is the way to providing the communication between any two nodes or any two devices. If a book doesn't reach to receiver, that means the receiver, the sender will resend that same book to the receiver. So that's why we call it as that is a reliable. And also the TCP, the transmission control protocol, will arranging the order of, and after all books are delivered to your friend, after that the TCP, the transmission control protocol, using fin, that is a finished, that is a closing the connection, that is the TCP, transmission control protocol. So that's why we call it as the TCP is a connection oriented, that is a reliable. The next is a order delivery and uses acknowledgement and retransmission and flow control. So ensure data reaches correctly. Using this concept, that TCP is a reliable protocol and the data will be reached to receiver as a correct and ensure manner. So this is the real-time example of transmission control protocol. So coming to a UDP, this is another protocol, that is a UDP. UDP is a user datagram protocol. So it is a fast and simple and connectionless protocol. So whenever the user want to sending the data as a fast manner, where we can using the UDP protocol. That means the UDP protocol is a delivering the fast manner, and that is a connection less protocol. So UDP sends data quickly but doesn't check if the data reaches safely or not. So that is the main drawback of the user datagram protocol. So it works like sending a message without warranty for a reply. So this is the motto of the UDP protocol. So this is the main difference between the TCP and the UDP. So the TCP is a reliable and the UDP is a non-reliable. The TCP is a connection oriented. The UDP is a connectionless protocol. The TCP is a after completing the data, that means the sender send the data to the receiver, that is a completed. After that the TCP closing the connection. So in UDP protocol there is no feature of connection, so it will automatically disconnecting the connection. That is example of TCP example and browsing applications, and UDP examples, that is the best example is Wi-Fi connections. So this is my today class. Thank you to all.
Okay.